Alright guys, the world's kind of a hectic place right now, so I want to do something fun today. We are doing this video by this guy named Ghost Explains, called Every Call of Duty Game Explained in 30 Minutes. I've been diving back into the Call of Duty games, like some of the older ones. I've been diving into, like, some of the older campaigns. Like, the Modern Warfare campaigns, I never got into as a kid, because as a kid, they just never really interested me. So I thought, alright, you know what, I'm gonna go back on the older Modern Warfare campaigns. I'm interested. And I watched through the original trilogy, and I'm like, holy shit, I could see why so many people fucking liked it. It's interesting. It's also very different from Treyarch, and it's like a nice palate cleanser compared to Treyarch. It was almost like the yin and yang that Call of Duty needed at the time for its golden age. But yeah, without further ado, I guess we'll just watch this video. It's, you know, like I said, the world's in a very scary place, so let's, like I said, I just wanted to do something fun. I don't want to do any, like, serious, dumb, like, it was either we do dumb slop, which there wasn't really a lot of dumb slop going on, or we do something fun, and I wanted to do this, just as, like, a palate cleanser.
In 2003, the first Call of Duty got released, and to be honest, I never played it, and most likely you also didn't, but
yeah, I definitely did not play the original Call of Duty, although a lot of people say it, like, is, it's within a lot of people's hearts, we'll say. It has a special place, because a lot of old FPS games like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, the original Call of Duty, were pretty cool.
What's certain, it changed everything about how we experienced war games. You played as 3 different nameless soldiers across World War II's most iconic battles. Private Martin from the American 101st Airborne, Sergeant Evans from the British SAS, and Senior Sergeant Voronin from the Soviet Red Army. Each campaign had its own distinct feel and weapons, from the Thompson submachine gun to the Sten gun to the PPSH-41. It even had
the PPSH. It's the PPSH. Come on now. Say it like you mean it with your chest, like an OG fan would.
A multiplayer feature. Up to 32 players could battle it out on maps like Carentan, Dawnville, and Pavlov, each based on the single-player campaign locations. You could choose between American, British, or German forces, each with their own authentic weapons and equipment. The multiplayer has games like Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and the one we all know, the infamous Search and Destroy. I probably don't even have to explain it. Well, I do it for people, I guess, living under a rock. Pretty simple, one team has to plant explosives, while the other needs to defend. And lastly, there was behind enemy lines where you had to infiltrate and escape enemy territory. The multiplayer was really good. Maps were designed with multiple routes and strategic choke points that encouraged squad-based gameplay.
It's interesting. Like, multiplayer back then was, like, very different compared to, like, what modern Call of Duty is. And I'm not going to be able to comment on Call of Duties 1 through 3 because I never really played those. And those are, I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if I would consider them Call of Duty games. Because at least Call of Duty as we know it, because it was just so different. Like, it's like in that early FPS time, like it's in the vein of Return to Castle Wolfenstein and Medal of Honor and stuff like that. That's kind of like how I picture it personally.
Wasn't just about getting kills. It was about working together to complete objectives and control key areas. Critics loved it. Players were obsessed, and nobody expected it to spawn a franchise that would dominate gaming for the next 2 decades.
Oh, wait till we get to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I would say Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is where Call of Duty really begins, and that's where a lot of people consider it to really begin, just because of how it, like, really changed things.
Call of Duty 2 came out in 2005, and honestly, this one actually mattered because it launched with the Xbox 360. So a lot more people played this compared to the first one. It perfected the World War II formula and showed what next-gen gaming could really do. Better graphics, way bigger battles, and a health system that changed everything. No more running around looking for medkits like some scavenger hunt, just duck behind cover and magically heal up.
Oh, really? That's the Call of Duty that introduced that. Interesting. Yeah, because, like, in a lot of old FPS games, that actually makes a lot of sense that Call of Duty didn't start out with that feature until, like, a later game, because in a lot of older games, it's just you find health, and there was no regenerating health. You had to, like, find health kits around the map to, like, get your health back up. And so the first Call of Duty game having that, like, in the vein of a lot of older FPS games makes a lot of sense to me.
Revolutionary stuff for 2005. You played as 3 different soldiers again.
Corporal Taylor, Sergeant Davis, and Private Kozlov.
But this time the campaigns felt way more epic. As Private Randall in the British campaign,
Private Davis.
You fought across North Africa in the desert heat, dealing with tank battles and German Afrika Korps. The Russian campaign put you in the boots of Sergeant Vasily Kozlov during the Battle of Stalingrad and Moscow, with brutal urban warfare and sniper duels. But the American campaign with Corporal Bill Taylor was the real showstopper. D-Day landings, capturing Pointe du Hoc, and fighting through the French countryside.
This really does give me vibes of, like, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Just, like, these graphics, the font, and just everything. It's, like, so Return to Castle Wolfenstein vibes.
The multiplayer was solid, too.
And it really just, like, screams early 2000s games. It really takes me back. I never played the original Call of Duties, but this is, like, within that vein. Like, that's why I wouldn't consider Call of Duties 1 through 3, like, Call of Duty games, when you really think about it. I wouldn't really consider it in that vein, just because of how so drastically different they are to, like, what the Call of Duty formula is as we know it.
Supporting up to 64 players on PC and featuring classic modes like Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, and Search and Destroy. Maps like Tujan, Carentan, and Burgundy became fan favorites, each designed with multiple routes and strategic positions that rewarded teamwork over individual heroics. It was truly a masterpiece. Console players fell in love because it was their first real taste of next-gen Call of Duty, and it set the gold standard for WPU shooters that nobody would match for years. This was peak World War II gaming, and everyone knew it.
I don't know if I would say it was peak World War II gameplay. I mean, I would say probably the best if you want, like, a realistic World War II shooter that's, like, super, like, it just gets everything right, Call of Duty World at War. Call of Duty World at War is the best World War II shooter if you want, like, to get as historically accurate as you can. Now, I'm not saying Call of Duty World at War didn't get some things wrong. Obviously, you'll notice a couple of details here and there, but you would be surprised how just historically accurate almost everything else is about that game. If you want, like, that, that's fun, but if you want, like, alternate history, that's, like, really, really cool stuff. The Wolfenstein franchise is pretty good. I recommend Wolfenstein 2009, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Hell, even the New Order is pretty damn good as well. New Colossus is alright. I wouldn't really buy that game for the story. I'd say, like, the gameplay is much better than the, story of that game.
If you owned an Xbox 360 in 2005, you owned Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty 3 came out a year later in 2006, and
I remember liking the theme song for this game, but that's about it. I don't remember anything else about Call of Duty 3. Call of Duty 3's theme song was really good.
the first crack in the armor, and honestly, this is where things started getting messy. The first COD not made by Infinity Ward, Treyarch took over, and you could immediately tell something was off. While Infinity Ward was busy working on something that would change everything, Treyarch
yes, COD 4. That's where Call of Duty really starts.
got stuck making another World War II game that nobody really asked for. The big selling
Really? I mean, I guess maybe people were sick of the World War II setting because they did the World War II setting like 3 times already.
point was 4-player split-screen co-op, which was actually pretty cool. You could play through the entire campaign with friends on the same couch. But everything else felt rushed and uninspired. The graphics looked dated even for 2006. The AI was dumber than Call of Duty 2. And the weapons felt like they had no impact. They tried to add cinematic moments with quick-time events, but they felt forced and broke the flow of combat. It was definitely disappointing.
Was it like in the style of like Resident Evil 4? Not the new Resident Evil 4, the original Resident Evil 4, where they just like are like, it's just littered with QuickTime events. Same with Resident Evil 5 as well. Resident Evil 5 had a lot of those too.
Compared to Call of Duty 2, and fans complained it lacked the magic and innovation of the first 2 games. Activision released the first Modern Warfare.
Here we go. This is where Call of Duty, in my opinion, really began. Call of Duty 4.
In 2007, and it changed everything. And I mean everything. This is the game that made Call of Duty what it is today. No more Nazis, no more World War II. Infinity Ward said, screw it. We're doing Modern Warfare now. CIA, terrorists, nuclear threats, and the kind of
Was the CIA involved in the first Modern Warfare game? I thought that was only in Modern Warfare 2, briefly, if you, like, paid attention to the plot of that game. I thought it was, just the SAS, the Russian forces, and then some terrorists, and the, USMC, the Marine Corps, in the first Modern Warfare game.
Political thriller storyline that would make Tom Clancy jealous. You played as 2 main characters, Soap McTavish, a British SAS soldier, and Paul Jackson,
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember these characters. Yeah, Soap McTavish is very iconic. And also, Soap, what kind of a name is Soap anyway? What the bloody hell kind of a name is Soap anyway? Whatever, however Captain Price says it. Yeah, I mean, this campaign was very good. It's definitely an A-tier campaign, easily. It's, like, really, it's up there, for sure.
U.S. Marine. The campaign took you from the Middle East to Russia, following Captain Price and his mustache through missions that felt like you were starring in your own action movie. The story involved a Russian ultranationalist named Imran Zakhaev, trying to restore the Soviet Union, and your job was to stop him before he nuked half the world. The campaign was absolutely perfect. Memorable characters like Captain Price, Gaz, and the villain Zakhaev, who you literally couldn't kill. Incredible set pieces like...
Yeah, Zakhaev was it's interesting because you never really saw Zakhaev for most of the game until like the very end of it. And the story that it tells is like just very interesting because they like wind up martyring him later in Modern Warfare anyways, after you wind up getting him. Oh yeah, and this mission too.
The AC-130 gunship mission, Death from Above, where you rained hell from the sky. The sniper mission...
I feel like ever since that mission, by the way, called Death from Above, where you're in like the AC-130, and you like guide the SAS to where they need to go. You assist them. It like, ever since that mission, I feel like Call of Duty has always tried to do a mission like that, and they've never been able to do it as well as Death from Above. Death from Above, like, did it perfectly, and then every other mission kind of sucked. I guess Black Cats was, from World at War was kind of cool.
All ghillied up, where you crawled through Chernobyl in a ghillie suit, and that nuke scene in shock and awe that left everyone speechless.
Oh, yeah, that nuke scene was fucking brutal in Modern Warfare. In the original Modern Warfare, that was very jarring for its time.
Seriously, if you played this game, you remember exactly where you were when that nuclear explosion went off, and you had to crawl through the aftermath as a dying soldier. But the real revolution was multiplayer, and this is where COD became an addiction. Perks like Stopping Power, Juggernaut, and Martyrdom. Kill streaks like UAV, Airstrike, and the legendary helicopter that everyone feared. Custom classes where you could finally build your perfect loadout. And Prestige Mode, the genius system that made you restart your progress just to get a shiny new emblem and bragging rights. It weaponized progression and made addiction feel rewarding.
Yeah, the multiplayer really changed everything. Like, multiplayer with its prestige system and its, like, level up system and everything, that pretty much is just the system that, like, Call of Duty used going forward. That's really why people consider this Call of Duty game, like, the first real Call of Duty game. Because that's where it really began in a lot of ways. Both, like, story-wise and also both, like, the post-season launch and everything and how people played multiplayer.
Maps were legendary. Crash, Backlot, Crossfire, Shipment, and Vacant. Each one was perfectly designed for different playstyles. The weapon progression system with challenges for every gun, camo unlocks, and that satisfying ding when you leveled up. Everyone was screaming into their mics, sharing montages on YouTube, and grinding for days just to hit max prestige. This wasn't just a game, it was a cultural phenomenon that changed shooters forever. It proved that Modern Warfare could be more exciting than World War II, that progression systems could keep
Whoa, what was that weird cut?
Players hooked for months, and that Call of Duty was no longer just another shooter. It was the shooter. World at War was Treyarch's...
Yeah, COD 4 is pretty good. It has a A-tier campaign easily. The campaign is really, really good, and, yeah, I remember having a lot of good memories with the campaign. The multiplayer was also very iconic, too.
Redemption arc, and honestly, they needed it after the disaster that was Call of Duty 3. This time they said, forget about playing it safe, we're going back to World War II, but we're making it darker and more brutal than anything anyone had ever seen before.
Yes. Dude, World at War really shows the dark side of World War II. And that's why I say that World at War is probably one of the most realistic World War II video games you could ever play. If you want, like, historical accuracy. Now, obviously, again, it gets things wrong, but, like, this is really, like, if you want to experience World War II, I would say World at War is probably as close as you're gonna get. It's fucking brutal. Yeah, these are the two protagonists. In the American campaign, you play as Private Miller, and then in the Russian campaign, you play as Dmitry Petrenko.
Who played as two soldiers in the most savage theaters of World War II. Private Miller fighting with the Marines in the Pacific against the Japanese, and Private Dmitry Petrenko battling with the Red Army on the Eastern Front against the Germans. The Pacific campaign was absolutely insane. Flamethrowers literally melted enemies into screaming torches, limbs got blown off by grenades, and the Japanese would hide in trees and spider holes to ambush you. The Peleliu and Okinawa missions were nightmare fuel that showed the Pacific War's true horror. But the Soviet campaign was even more brutal. You fought through Stalingrad, Berlin, and the Silo Heights with Sergeant
There's so many good missions in this game. Like, every single mission just feels really, like, you really feel like you're in World War II. And I would say World at War is definitely an S-tier campaign. There's so many fucking good missions in this game. It's so good. It's so good. And then, of course, Viktor Reznov, who becomes such an iconic character in the Call of Duty franchise.
Reznov, who became a fan-favorite character. The campaign pulled no punches. You'd see German soldiers burning alive, civilians caught in crossfire, and the desperate final push into Hitler's bunker. This wasn't your typical heroic World War II story. This was war at its most savage and unforgiving. The multiplayer was solid, but nothing special. Here's the twist that changed everything. Hidden in the campaign's final level was a secret that would become bigger than COD itself. After beating the campaign, you unlocked Nacht der Untoten.
Zombies. Zombies, fun fact, by the way, I don't know if this content creator is going to go into it, but fun fact, the zombies mode for this game was made because the developers just had extra free time. Like, every single other part of the game was completed. Campaign was done, multiplayer was done. Someone just decided, we're just going to add this fun little thing at the very end of the game. It's just like a nice bonus. You know, we have some extra time, why not? And Nacht der Untoten is like as bare bones as it gets for Call of Duty Zombies, but it was fucking lightning in a bottle. Like, it was so good that they wound up making more maps for zombies. They eventually made a story for it, and now it's just become like a staple for Call of Duty going forward.
4 players, 1 bunker, unlimited waves of undead Nazis. Zombies mode was supposed to be just a throwaway bonus, something fun the developers threw in because they thought it would be cool. Nobody expected it to become a phenomenon. It became so popular that some people bought Call of Duty games just for the Zombies mode. Treyarch had accidentally created lightning in a bottle.
Pre-watch.
And been chasing that high ever since. Modern Warfare 2...
Yeah, World at War is a fantastic game. S-tier campaign. Zombies mode is iconic. A lot of good memories with zombies. Even the multiplayer was pretty solid too. I wouldn't say World at War has my favorite multiplayer, but I would say it's like solid enough. I need to do like a multiplayer ranking of Call of Duty sometime.
Was the sequel that broke the internet. And I'm not exaggerating. This game was everywhere.
Oh yeah, Modern Warfare 2... okay. I'm gonna give a bit of a nuclear take. Are you ready? No pun intended. But, Modern Warfare 2's campaign, I would say, is probably not as good as COD 4's campaign. I wouldn't say it's as good. I still think it's good. It has a pretty solid campaign. I would still say it's like an A-tier campaign, but I would rank it probably below Modern Warfare, COD 4, Modern Warfare. The multiplayer, though, is fucking chaos. Like, it's like everything was broken. There was like the commando knife shit that people would do. Almost every single gun in the game was broken. The UMP was solid. The fucking Spaz 12 was solid. And the Model 1887s. It's just like everything was broken.
On the news, in political debates, and dominating.
Oh yeah, the no Russian mission was very controversial.
Every Xbox Live party chat. After Modern Warfare 1 set the bar impossibly high, somehow they managed to jump over it while doing a backflip. The campaign was absolutely insane. The story was a wild ride about Russian ultranationalists invading America, a rogue general betraying everyone, and the most shocking airport level in gaming history.
Yeah, no Russian. You do have a mission, yeah, like, I was just about to bring that up, but yeah, you have the option to skip no Russian because it's obviously a very... I would say it's one of the most controversial missions in a Call of Duty campaign. No surprise there. I would say the story is generally good. It built off of what COD 4 had. We have, obviously, the iconic characters of Ghost. Makarov was introduced, and then they had, like, the plot twist at the end with General Shepard betraying you. And then, like, when you really look back at, like, the entire plot of Modern Warfare 2, it makes sense. Like, there were signs that General Shepard did not have your best interests, but you think he does because he's such a, like, an authority figure that you listen to. Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 is pretty solid. It's very, very good game.
It was so controversial, countries legit banned it. But the real story...
It makes sense why some countries have banned it. It's a very... Like, you literally go into an airport and you shoot up a bunch of civilians and you commit war crimes.
The story was about betrayal. Ghost, Soap, and Price versus General Shepard in the most betrayal-heavy campaign ever created. The final mission where you chase Shepard through Afghanistan and Price throws a knife into his eye? Pure cinema. But multiplayer was where the real chaos lived. This is where COD multiplayer became completely unhinged. Akimbo 1887 shotguns that could snipe people across the map, Commando Pro that
Yep, Commando Pro, where you could knife people from like meters away.
let you knife someone from 10 feet away, noob tubes with one-man army that gave you infinite grenades, and the UMP-45 that killed faster than most assault rifles. It was simultaneously the most fun and most broken COD ever made. The maps were legendary. Rust for One versus One Quickscopes, Terminal for search and destroy, High Rise for trick shotting, and Nuketown. Wait,
No. Nuketown is in Black Ops 1.
that's Black Ops, but you get the idea.
Okay. Did you like type your script into like ChatGPT and then it gave you like a script and you read off of that and you didn't edit that out? That was a little strange. I don't know. If you meant that as like a joke, then I don't know. I don't know why you didn't just edit that out, but okay. Cool.
Kill streaks were insane. 7 kills got you a Harrier, 9 kills got you a Pave Low, and 25 kills got you a tactical nuke that ended the game instantly. People would camp in corners for 20 minutes just trying to get that nuke. Everyone has a love-hate relationship with this one, and in my opinion, it was brilliant. You'd rage quit because someone cross-mapped you with akimbo shotguns, then immediately start another match because the game was just that addictive. It was the peak of COD's Wild West era before developers started caring about balance and fairness.
Yeah, I mean, I think Modern Warfare 2 is one of those rare instances where everything was so broken, but that's what made the game fun. If, like, everything was broken, then, then nothing was, right? Like, everything was equally as broken as each other, and, like, you could use anything and be fine. And then, after MW2, obviously things, I would say, like, kind of started to settle down a little bit once we got into Black Ops 1, and even, like, Modern Warfare 3, it's, like, definitely... I would actually say Modern Warfare 3 was one of the rare instances where, because they focused more on balancing that game's multiplayer, it actually wound up hurting it more than Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer.
Sometimes broken is better. Black Ops was the game that nobody saw coming, and honestly, it messed with people's heads in the best possible way. After Modern Warfare 2's explosive action,
Black Ops is a fantastic game, and just like every mode in Black Ops 1 is so good.
Treyarch said, "Hold up, what if we made a psychological thriller disguised as a shooter? Vietnam, brainwashing, and the most unreliable protagonist in gaming history."
Alex Mason, yep.
This wasn't your typical COD campaign. You played as Alex Mason, or did you? The entire story is told through Mason's interrogation sessions.
Very good. Black Ops 1 has one of the most unique main menus in any video game ever. The main menu is you're literally sitting down in a chair and the TV is your main menu. You like actually scroll through the TV as the main menu. I would say that's probably one of the most unique main menu screens of like any video game. Tell me that is not like a fucking radical idea. It's so fucking cool. And then, obviously, you play through the campaign, you go through the psychological thriller of remembering your past missions to try to find Nikita Dragovich, which, I gotta say, Nikita Dragovich was a very boring antagonist for this game. That's, like, the only thing I'd say about this campaign, is the antagonist was, like, kind of boring. Obviously, Viktor Kravchenko, all the antagonists in this game are very boring, but Kravchenko kind of gets better as you get, like, more Black Ops games. They kind of flesh out his character a little bit more.
Where he's strapped to a chair while mysterious voices question him about the numbers. You're never sure what's real, what's a memory, and what's just his broken mind filling in the gaps. The campaign takes you through the Bay of Pigs invasion, the Vietnam War, and a conspiracy involving Soviet sleeper agents trying to poison America's water supply with deadly Nova 6 gas. But
yes, that was what the numbers was for, I'm pretty sure, in the original Black Ops 1 campaign, right?
The story was genuinely brilliant.
It's interesting because Black Ops 1's campaign, like, even though it's set during the Vietnam era, there's one mission where it's set during World War II, but that's like a flashback mission with Viktor Reznov. Like, they base a lot of these off of real things in history. Like, Black Ops really plays into conspiracy theories of, like, MK Ultra and, like, what was the US doing behind closed doors and stuff. They, like, really, really play into that with Black Ops 1. And this is like the mindfuck campaign, like, done correctly. And it's, the multiplayer was also very, very fantastic, too. It's like they had the, wager matches, which was... I don't think they've ever done wager matches in, like, a Call of Duty game other than Black Ops. Like, they did it for Black Ops 1, then they just never brought them back.
The The multiplayer was where Treyarch really proved themselves. They introduced combat training with bots, so you could actually practice without getting destroyed by 12-year-olds screaming racial slurs.
Oh, yeah, that was always fun.
Theater mode lets you record, edit, and share your best moments. Basically, YouTube built into the game. The weapon were good, and the maps, like Nuketown, Firing Range, and Summit, became instant classics. The Create a Class system was refined. The kill streaks were
God,
balanced.
he's showing that iconic video of the, I can't say the word, but if you know, you know. It's N-word beating off in Black Ops 1. If you know that meme, yeah, that's the, that was the name of it.
And the overall gameplay felt tight and competitive. No more akimbo shotguns or commando lunging. This was COD multiplayer at its most fair and skill-based. And then there was Zombie.
Is it the most fair and skill-based multiplayer for Call of Duty? I'm gonna have to think about that. I don't know if I'd say Black Ops is the most balanced. Because, like, that's kind of the implication, is that it's the most balanced. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
The Easter eggs were insane. Players spent months trying to figure out the storylines, decode the radios.
Yeah, Zombies was... They took Zombies in, like, a whole new direction. It was so... Black Ops 1 Zombies was super exciting. It was, like, very, very innovative.
Unlock secret achievements.
The launch maps, the DLC maps were very good. It's just, like, Black Ops 1 was so innovative for its time.
The Zombies community became obsessed with the mythology, creating theories about Element 115, Group 935.
The way he says these, it's like, normally you'd say 115 and 935. It's just, the way he's saying it, you could tell he's like an outsider, like looking and trying to figure out the zombie storyline. It's okay. Listen, outsiders, even people who are in the zombie storyline don't fully understand the story either. So it's all good, dude.
And the connection between all the maps. Most people consider this the peak of COD storytelling. And they're not wrong. It proved that Call of Duty could be more than just shoot the bad guys. The campaign made you question everything, the multiplayer was perfectly balanced, and zombies became a cultural phenomenon. This was Treyarch at their absolute best, Modern Warfare.
I would not agree with Treyarch at their absolute best. We're about to get to the game where they were at their absolute best, though.
3 was the trilogy's conclusion that somehow felt...
Yeah, Modern Warfare 3, this game was... I think the campaign was very solid. This might be a hot take, I would rank this game's campaign... Would I rank it above MW2's, actually? No, that's a good question. No, it's actually still my least favorite Modern Warfare campaign in the original trilogy. That said, the campaign is still really solid. The fucking... We're about to get into it, but yeah, the campaign's still solid.
Incomplete, and that's probably the most frustrating thing about it. This was supposed to be the epic finale to the greatest shooter trilogy ever made, but it felt like Infinity Ward was playing it safe when they should have been going all out.
I disagree. That I completely disagree with. It does feel like they are going all out with a lot of parts. Modern Warfare 3's campaign, for those of you that don't know, you're in the middle of World War 3. The Russians are invading pretty much a lot of Europe. They're invading America. It's fucking chaos. I would say Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has one of the most chaotic settings in any Call of Duty campaign. It's like you feel the chaos unraveling around you. I guess World at War technically is another chaotic campaign. So I guess World at War and Modern Warfare 3 are some of the chaotic ones, but that's beside the point. This campaign was interesting. You played as Delta Force operators, and you also played as Task Force 141 from Modern Warfare 2, which are now disavowed after they kill General Shepard, yada yada yada. And this is really like one of the worst case scenarios. Like everybody's like biggest fear is World War 3, and like Modern Warfare 3 really shows that. And so I think the setting of this game is 10 out of 10. Unfortunately, because the setting is so chaotic, because everything is so fucking, like, just turbulent, we'll say, the characters didn't really have a lot of time to develop as a result of it. So, like, the Delta Force operators didn't really have a lot of time to develop as much as they should have. I would say Task Force 141 didn't get as much time to develop as they should have, I would say. In some parts of it, just because it was just so chaotic. Everything was just so fucking chaotic. And it should be. Like, I'm not saying, like, they should take away that parts, but there should be some room to let the characters develop just a little bit more, and I think that's where this campaign falls a little bit. Also, some of the breach sections were very overdone. Like, they constantly, like, reuse the breach mechanic over and over and over again.
The campaign was absolutely epic in scope. World War III breaks out, and you're fighting in New York, London, Paris, Berlin, and Russia as the world literally burns around you. You played as multiple characters again. Soap MacTavish, Captain Price, Yuri, a former associate of Makarov, and various soldiers from different armies. The story picked up...
Just Frost, I believe. It was just, Frost from Delta Force that you played.
Right where MW2 left off, with Makarov's Russian forces invading Europe, while Price and Soap hunt him down for revenge. Every mission was a blockbuster moment, and the global scale made it feel like the world was actually ending.
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people describe MW3 as, like, a Michael Bay movie. It really feels like a Michael Bay movie. For better or for worse. Like I said, I would say MW3 is probably my least favorite in the original trilogy after seeing everything, but it's still pretty good, I would say.
But
I'd say it's like a B-tier campaign, like a low B-tier campaign. Maybe mid-B-tier, actually, now that I think about it, but still.
The tragedy that broke everyone's hearts. Soap dies.
That definitely... I mean, I wasn't as touched by it because I didn't experience it back then, but I imagine, like, that was very emotional for a lot of players back in the day.
Some heroic sacrifice saving the world, but from his injuries in a random safe house in Prague. Captain Price tries to save him, but there's nothing he can do. People who had been playing as Soap since 2007 were devastated. But the multiplayer felt safe after MW2's beautiful chaos. And that's where the disappointment crept in.
Like I said, MW3 was one of the few campaigns that actually, like, because they played it so safe and they didn't want to make everything as broken as MW2, that's actually what wound up making it less fun. It actually was one of the cases where balancing the game made it worse.
Don't get me wrong, it was solid. The maps were great, the weapon balance was good, and they fixed most of MW2's broken mechanics. They introduced Kill Confirmed, which was actually brilliant. The kill streaks were redesigned into 3 categories: Assault, Support, and Specialist. The weapon proficiency system let you unlock attachments by using guns, which was cool. Survival mode was basically a co-op version of zombies, but with regular enemies instead of undead. The problem was that fans wanted innovation. Not just MW2, but fixed. MW3 felt like playing with training wheels. It was a good game, but it wasn't revolutionary. Black Ops 2 was the future warfare game.
Black Ops 2, this, in my opinion, just everything about Black Ops 2 is chef's kiss. Well, not everything. Zombies mode definitely suffered, but campaign and multiplayer, chef's fucking kiss. This COD game... we're never going to get another game like Black Ops 2 ever again.
That got everything right, and I mean everything. This is the game that proved Call of Duty could evolve beyond modern warfare without losing its identity. Set in 2025, Treyarch took a massive risk by jumping into the future, and somehow they nailed it perfectly. You played as David Mason, son of Alex Mason from the first Black Ops.
David Mason was a cool character that they introduced. I really like David Mason a lot. We're going to get him again in Black Ops 7. Hopefully the campaign's good.
Dealing with the consequences of his father's actions while fighting threats of the future. The story jumped between the 1980s and 2025, connecting the Cold War past to a high-tech future. In the past, you played as Alex Mason and Frank Woods dealing with the Nicaraguan conflict and a villain named Raul Menendez. In the future, you played as David trying to stop that same Menendez from starting a global war using hacked American drones. The campaign had multiple endings based on decisions you made throughout the story. But the multiplayer was where Black Ops 2 really shined.
Yeah, I will say, like, right before we get into the multiplayer, is that Black Ops 2 has the best Call of Duty campaign, period. The storytelling is amazing. The gameplay was phenomenal. The create a class system that the campaign had was really unlike any other Call of Duty campaign. And the multiple endings you could get was what made that Call of Duty campaign replayable. I would replay that campaign, like, at least twice just to try to get, like, different endings. It was so fantastic. It was, Black Ops 2's campaign. We're never going to get another campaign like it. It's just something about it. It really was lightning in a bottle.
10 create a class system was revolutionary. Instead of being locked into specific slots, you had 10 points to spend however you wanted. The maps were incredible. Nuketown 2025, Raid, Standoff, Hijacked, and Yemen became instant classics. They introduced League Play, which was basically ranked competitive COD. You could play with pro rules, climb divisions, and actually compete at a high level. The competitive scene exploded because of this game. Tournaments, professional leagues, and streaming all took off. This was the game that made COD's esports legitimate. And then there was Zombies, which went completely insane. Transit was this massive map.
Transit? No, it's Transit.
Where you rode a bus between different areas.
Okay, to be clear, I would say where Black Ops 2 falls flat was Transit. Transit was absolutely dog shit. This map was terrible. It was, it's even for 2025 standards, it's not good. This map is very unbearable. I don't think I would unironically play this map ever.
Fighting zombies and building contraptions. But then came the DLC maps that were absolute perfection.
I would say Die Rise as a DLC map, which was the first DLC for Zombies. It was fine for its time, but like it aged poorly. The only reason why we liked it at the time was because it wasn't Transit, and it was more playable than Transit was. I think Mob of the Dead is a top tier map. It's easily S tier. Buried was pretty good. It wasn't like super memorable in my opinion, but it was pretty good. And then Origins, I would say, was definitely a very memorable map for sure. I do think it gets a little bit overrated though. I don't think it's like as good. I don't think it's like an S tier map. And I know I might get some hate for saying that, but I think it's like an A tier map. I think it's like good, but it's, you know, I still think Mob of the Dead was better. Personally, I preferred Mob of the Dead to it.
This was arguably one of the best CODs ever made. Ghosts released in 2013
Every made.
And was the forgotten experiment that nobody talks about. And
yeah, I mean, I recently looked back at the Call of Duty Ghosts campaign. It was a lot better than I gave it credit for. Ghosts campaign actually was, like, fairly interesting. I would say it has one of the coolest settings out of any Call of Duty game. It's a post-apocalyptic setting after the Odin strikes hit Earth. It's definitely one of the cooler settings, and I do appreciate that. That said, the dialogue is very cheesy with some of the characters. Some of the characters are cool. I liked Keegan a lot. Gabriel Rourke was a pretty solid villain. The Federation is interesting. The fact that South America and Central America become like a global superpower is very fascinating, and I think that's like a neat little alternate like near future thing that they experimented with. So I think some aspects of the story are cool, but it just didn't really hit home like some of the other Call of Duty campaigns, and I can see why it's not as remembered. And the multiplayer was not like super spectacular in this game.
Honestly, that's probably for the best. After the incredible success of Black Ops 2, Infinity Ward decided to completely start over with a new universe, new characters, and a completely different tone. The campaign was actually decent if you gave it a chance. America gets invaded by a South American federation called the Federation, and you play as Logan Walker, part of an elite unit called the Ghosts. The story follows you and your brother Hesh as you fight as the underdog against an enemy that's actually winning. For once, America wasn't dominating, cities were destroyed, the military was scattered, and you were literally fighting for survival.
Yeah, some of the missions in this game were really cool, though. I really liked the one mission where you enter the Federation territory. It's like the Dark Knight, essentially. I'm not even kidding. It's like in the style of the Dark Knight, where you like invade a Federation like work building or whatever, and like you use like a zip line to walk down the building and invade the building, and then you like use strobe lights to take out people and stuff. It's like a very cool mission. That mission was very cool. The underwater mission was also very sick too. There were some cool missions in this game.
Villain Gabriel.
I'd say this was like a maybe high C tier campaign, maybe even low B tier, actually. Now I think about it, I would be willing to put this campaign in maybe like low B tier, honestly. Definitely, like, I would say it was like a solid campaign, but that fucking cliffhanger sucks. It's like, we're never gonna know what happens later in this game after that cliffhanger.
Rourke was genuinely threatening. He used to be a ghost until he was captured, brainwashed, and turned into a weapon against his former teammates.
Well, that's not quite what happened. What wound up happening, and spoiler if you haven't played the campaign, but they were on mission, they were invading some Federation territory. They had like a HVT, high value target, that they were hunting down. They went into the chopper, and then Gabriel Rourke was like hanging off the chopper once they killed the HVT, and everything was collapsing around them, and Elias, who's the main character's father, does not save him in time, and he winds up falling to his death. And that's what makes him hate the Federation. And he winds up getting like brainwashed by like the Federation's. They had like a tribal method of doing it. And then he just started hating ghosts from there.
The personal vendetta between him and your father, Elias Walker, gave the story some emotional weight. And then there was Riley, the German Shepherd.
Riley's such a good boy.
Who became the game's...
If you played the Ghosts campaign, everybody loved Riley.
...biggest star. That dog had more personality than most COD protagonists. The missions where you controlled Riley were actually fun. And when he got hurt, players cared more about saving the dog than completing the objective.
True.
Graphics were impressive for 2013. Especially on next-gen consoles. But the multiplayer felt different in all the wrong ways. The maps were way too big, like stupidly big. Maps like Stonehaven and Siege were massive, which sounds good in theory, but made the gameplay slow and boring. You'd spend half the match just running around looking for enemies. They did introduce some interesting mechanics, dynamic map events where you could trigger earthquakes, floods, or building collapses.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think it was like with the field order mechanic that they introduced.
Extinction mode replaced zombies with aliens, which was actually pretty fun, but...
Oh my god, dude. Extinction mode is one of the most underrated modes in Call of Duty. I really enjoyed Extinction. I gotta be honest. Like, even back in, like, the day, back in, like, 2013, 2014... Extinction mode was super underrated. This was a very underrated mode.
Felt like a cheap knockoff. The new game modes like Cranked and Blitz had potential, but couldn't save the overall experience. Advanced Warfare was the jetpack revolution that divided the fanbase right down the middle.
True.
And honestly, it's still a controversial topic today. After the disaster that was Ghosts, Sledgehammer Games decided to go full sci-fi with exosuits, wall running, boost jumping, and Kevin Spacey as the corporate villain. It was the biggest risk COD had taken since Modern Warfare, and the results were complicated. The campaign was surprisingly good.
I would say the campaign was very, very solid. This is another A-tier campaign. This campaign was really fucking good. And it's also a very scary concept. The fact that private military companies could be more powerful than any country in the world or any military that any country had access to. Like, it was a very, very solid campaign.
Way better than it had any right to be. You played as Private Jack Mitchell, a soldier who loses his arm in combat and gets recruited by Atlas Corporation, a private military company run by Jonathan Irons. The story was a corporate conspiracy thriller about how private military companies could become more powerful than governments. Irons starts as your savior, giving you a high-tech prosthetic arm and advanced exosuit, but gradually reveals himself as a megalomaniac trying to control the world.
Yeah, also, Kevin Spacey as an actor, that didn't age super well. This was before all the fucking crazy allegations where he, I think it was like, I don't know all the details, but I think he was like super inappropriate with like a 14-year-old while he was like 26. It was like some really fucking crazy shit.
Kevin Spacey was phenomenal as the villain. This was before all his real-life controversies, and he brought that House of Cards energy to the role. The exosuits changed everything about how COD played. You could boost jump over buildings, dodge mid-air, slam down from above, and wall run across entire maps.
That's not true. Yeah, Advanced Warfare, you could not wall run. It was just exo jump and exo dashing and stuff. The wall running was not a thing until Black Ops 3, which I believe is the next Call of Duty game.
Felt like playing as a superhero, which was either amazing or terrible depending on your perspective.
It was very different. Very, very different.
But multiplayer was where the real controversy lived. And boy, did it live there. Half the players loved the freedom and speed. The movement system was incredibly fluid once you mastered it, and the verticality added a whole new layer of strategy. Maps like Comeback, Detroit, and Biolab were designed specifically for 3D movement. The weapon variance system was controversial, but interesting. You could get different versions of the same gun with unique stats and visual designs.
I hope they never bring back the variant system. It created a whole slew of problems. I remember it was very controversial back in the day, and it was also attached to the loot box system, and so that's what made it even more controversial.
The other half wanted boots on the ground and hated every second of it. Traditional COD players felt alienated by the crazy movement system. The game required learning entirely new skills. Map awareness wasn't just about corners and sightlines anymore, you had to think in 3 dimensions. The supply drop system was another divisive addition. You could earn or buy loot boxes that contained weapon variants, clothing, and other cosmetics. It was COD's first real dive into microtransactions, and it felt predatory. Some weapon variants were objectively better than the base versions, which meant paying players had actual advantages. Looking back, Advanced Warfare was probably better than people gave it credit for. The campaign was excellent, the movement system was innovative, and the production values were through the roof. But sometimes being technically impressive isn't enough. You need to understand your audience, and Sledgehammer maybe understood technology better than they understood Call of Duty fans.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I gotta say, for Sledgehammer's first game, they did a pretty solid job. Like, the campaign was good. The multiplayer was fine. I wouldn't say it was, like, anything amazing. I will say the marketing for this game was not good. Like, the trailer for this game sucked. Like, I remember, like, watching the trailer and, like, watching the way Kevin Spacey, like, was interacting. I don't know, like, Kevin Spacey did play a very good villain in this game. Like, the campaign was actually really fucking good in this game. But the fucking trailer was, like, not so great. And then for Call of Duty Ghosts, it was kind of the opposite, where the campaign kind of suffered in a lot of areas. It wasn't terrible by any means, but it suffered. But the marketing for the game was really good. It had, like, almost, like, the opposite problem that Advanced Warfare did.
Black Ops 3 went full cyberpunk. This was the attempt to follow up the masterpiece.
Black Ops 3. I would say Black Ops 3 probably has the best multiplayer in any Call of Duty game. I would actually give it to BO3. BO3 is definitely the best multiplayer. I think BO3 and BO2 have the best multiplayers.
That was Black Ops 2.
I guess MW2 was pretty damn good too, so I'll give it to MW2 as well.
And somehow they managed to create the most confusing
I also liked Cold War's multiplayer as well. Like, I wouldn't say it's anywhere among these tier of multiplayers, but Cold War's multiplayer was pretty fun too.
Campaign in COD history, while also delivering some of the best multiplayer and zombies content ever made. It's honestly impressive how they got it so right and so wrong at the same time. The campaign was absolute nonsense.
Yeah, the campaign, definitely one of the worst campaigns for its time. The Black Ops 3's campaign was way too confusing. The gameplay was okay. I did like all the different augments you could use in this game. That was fun. There was all the cybernetic upgrades you could play around with. I thought that was cool. But everything that made the BO2 campaign good got completely removed from the BO3 campaign. It felt like a step backwards. Like, the story didn't really matter. Like, the characters meant really little in this campaign. They hardly make any references to the Black Ops timeline whatsoever. Aside from, like, mentioning Raul Menendez, like, twice. But aside from that, this game has literally nothing to do with any of the previous games. You could literally get away with playing Black Ops 3 and not play any of the Black Ops games, and you'd be fine. Because, like, all the characters are new, everything is new. The gameplay, the story was way too much of a mindfuck. It was way too confusing, and it just was way too cryptic for any normal person to follow. The main character is like a customizable playable character that you could make, whether it's male or female. And I don't know, man. It's just like this campaign is just, it was not good. It was not a good campaign. I still stand by that.
Played as a customizable soldier who gets their limbs blown off in the first mission, then gets cybernetic enhancements and neural implants that connect you to the DNI, direct neural interface. The story involved AI consciousness.
Yeah, Corvus was the main antagonist, which was whatever. I think the concept of Corvus was cool, though. Like, an AI conscience that, like, invades people's minds and, like, how people are dealing with cybernetic enhancements in their brain. I thought that was cool, but the execution was fucking horrible.
Simulated realities, and a plot that literally takes place inside someone's dying mind. Most people just skipped the cutscenes after the first few missions and treated it like a co-op shooter. Speaking of co-op, the campaign did support 4-player online co-op, which was actually pretty fun when you ignored the story and just focused on shooting robots with your friends.
I guess. Yeah, like I said, this system was cool. I like this a lot, where basically there were, like, essentially how this works, for those of you guys who don't know, there's, like, 3 different categories of cybernetic enhancements you can use. And these are many different ways to deal with this situation. You had access to all of these, by the way, in the campaign. You were never limited on any of them. You could just play with all of them at once. And I thought that was cool. I would say this is probably the best part of the campaign, is, like, being able to play with all these. I liked these a lot. Now, if the story was actually fucking good, if they made it like Black Ops 2, where the created class system was like it was in BO2. Like, there still was a create a class system in this campaign, but it was not as good as BO2's campaign. If they made it like that, and they made the story interesting and worth following, and they actually made it connected to BO2, like, just somehow, like, it just didn't feel as connected to the other campaigns. If they gave us a reason to care about it, this campaign honestly could have been a top campaign. I could have seen it. But, alas, here we are. But this part was definitely, I would say, my favorite part of the BO3 campaign.
Cybernetic abilities were cool in gameplay. You could hack enemy robots, see through walls, and use various tech powers.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Everything else was absolutely incredible. The multiplayer was some of the tightest, most balanced COD had ever been. Wall running felt smooth and natural, not like the chaotic jetpack madness of Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, I like I said, with the specialist system and everything, I would say BO3 probably had the best multiplayer, easily.
The movement system was perfect. It was fast-paced but controlled. The specialist system was genius. Instead of just picking a class, you chose a specialist character with unique weapons and abilities. Each specialist had a personality and backstory, which was ironic since they had more character development than the entire campaign cast. The weapon balance
That's so funny. Yeah, that actually is kind of true when you think about it, yeah.
was fantastic. Every gun felt satisfying to use. The attachments were meaningful.
So, a lot of people actually don't really like the BO3 weapon roster. I could see why. Most of them are just fictional guns in the future, and I mean, I get it, you know. A lot of people prefer some of the Modern Warfare arsenal, or the World War II arsenal, the Vietnam arsenal, etc., like guns that are based off of real ones in the real world. I can understand that, that's fine, you know, everyone has their preference. I think some of the BO3 guns were cool. We just saw one of them earlier, the Kuda was cool. It's like a futuristic MP5. The Razorback was kind of neat. I liked the Razorback a lot. There was a DLC AR called the LV8 Basilisk, which was kind of cool. There were some cool weapons, and the Dingo LMG was another good one too.
Fantastic.
But I could see why people didn't really like these weapons as much. They definitely went a little above and beyond with them.
Every gun felt satisfying to use. The attachments were meaningful. And the Create a Class system with the Pick-10 format returned from Black Ops 2. The maps were excellently designed for the movement system. Combine, Fringe, Hunted, and Nuketown were all instant classics that rewarded different playstyles. But Zombies was where Black Ops 3...
Well, to be fair, Nuketown was just Nuketown from BO1 and BO2, but done for 2065. It's literally the same map, done again and again.
He reached God tier status.
Yeah, oh yeah, Zombies is peak in BO3, for sure. I would say BO3 Zombies is definitely... I would say it's the best and worst thing to happen to Zombies, because BO3 set the bar so fucking high that our expectations became very unrealistic for Zombies. And, like, we just have like, a lot of people still have BO3 expectations for Zombies to this day. That's how good BO3 was. Every map was basically a banger. Like, Shadows of Evil was a banger... Hell, even the Giant was a banger. It was a bonus map that was like a remake of Der East, but it was still like, even that was still a banger. Horizon is an S tier map that became an instant classic. Zetsubo, I would say, is my least favorite map. I'm not really as big of a fan of Zetsubo, but even then, Zetsubo to a lot of people is still like a banger. Garad Krovi was a banger, and I know some people didn't like Revelations as much. I really enjoy Revelations a lot, personally. Revelations... I think a lot of people's problem with Revelations is that the map is just too easy. It's way too fucking easy. But I think that's part of what makes it fun. Like, you have access to so much broken shit on Revelations that it just makes it fun.
Shadows of Evil was the launch map, set in a 1940s noir city with Lovecraftian horror elements. You played as 4 sinners trapped in a purgatory dimension, fighting zombies and ancient creatures. The map was gorgeous, the atmosphere was perfect, and the Easter egg was incredibly complex. Jeff Goldblum, Heather Graham...
Yep, another celebrity cast. This was a very good celebrity cast, too. Shadows of Evil is a banger. Definitely another S-tier map, for sure.
And other celebrities voiced the characters, giving it that Hollywood production value. Infinite Warfare was the space opera that
I need to go back and play see the Infinite Warfare campaign, because I never really experienced the Infinite Warfare campaign, but so many people say the Infinite Warfare campaign is phenomenal. And I do need to go back and actually see what the campaign is all about. Because, like, I always looked at the campaign and thought, it seems aight. I don't think it's anything, like, special. It seems aight. But I definitely need to go back and, like, view this campaign again. So many people rate this campaign highly, and I do need to see it again.
Nobody asked for, but everyone should have played. And it's honestly one of the biggest tragedies in COD history. This game got buried by internet hate before...
Oh, yeah. Fun fact, Infinite Warfare, I don't know if it's still like this, but Infinite Warfare was... I think it was in, like, the top 2. It was, like, the second most disliked YouTube video of all time on YouTube. It was... I'm not even kidding. Like, it was so... I think people were so fed up with futuristic Call of Duties at this point, because we had Black Ops 2... Call of Duty Ghosts is, like, semi-futuristic. It's, like, near future. And then Advanced Warfare was futuristic, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was another futuristic game. And then Infinite Warfare is another futuristic game, and we've had 5 futuristic CODs at this point. And by this point, I think people were just very sick of futuristic Call of Duty games. So, like, I definitely could see it. Even the trailer for Infinite Warfare was, like, just not very good. Like, the marketing was just, it was tough. Very, very rough spot for Call of Duty.
Anyone even played it. You played as Captain Nick Reyes, a space marine fighting in a war between Earth and Mars. The story was about the Settlement Defense Front, SDF, a militant group of Mars colonists led by Admiral Selene Koch, who wanted to destroy Earth and claim all the...
I heard Koch was, like, not the greatest villain in this game. That's what I've heard, but I haven't played the campaign. I do need to go and play this campaign again.
Solar system's resources. It sounds like generic sci-fi, but the execution was incredible. The zero-gravity combat was incredible. You could use your thruster pack to navigate asteroid fields, fight on the outside of spaceships, and engage in dogfights between planets. The set pieces were spectacular. The assault on the SDF shipyard, the moon base infiltration, and that final battle on a collapsing ship were all movie-quality moments. But the community had already decided they hated it before it even launched. The reveal trailer became YouTube's most...
Yeah, and I think that really poisoned the well for many people. The fact that, like, the trailer, people were so fed up with futuristic Call of Duty that they just dislike-bombed Infinite Warfare's trailer before it, like, even came out. It's definitely kind of sad. Like I said, I do need to go back and, like, see the campaign for this game. I just finished rewatching, like, the Ghosts campaign. I still have to look at Advanced Warfare's again. And I think after Advanced Warfare is going to be Infinite Warfare, because I've seen all the Black Ops games already many times, and I'm trying to do every non-Treyarch campaign again, just to see, like, what I think of it. So that's what I've been doing. So yeah, Infinite Warfare is definitely on the list.
Disliked video at the time, with millions of dislikes and comments screaming about boots on the ground. People were tired of jetpacks and future warfare after Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. The backlash was so intense that it became a meme to hate on Infinite Warfare. People wanted to go back to modern or historical warfare. The fact that it was bundled with Modern Warfare Remastered made it even worse. Most people bought it just for the remaster and never touched the main game. The multiplayer was solid, with smooth movement, good weapon balance, and interesting maps. The combat rigs, specialists, were well designed, and the customization...
Yeah, the combat rigs were neat in this game.
Options were extensive.
I would say the multiplayer was literally just Black Ops 3, but a little more, like... I don't know. It was... I don't think the movement was as good as BO3. It was literally just like BO3, but, like, scaled back, and it just didn't really make it as good.
War 2 was the apology tour that brought the franchise back to its roots.
Yeah, this campaign, I remember this campaign being, like, okay. I saw, like, parts of this campaign. It was, like, alright. Zombies mode is, for the most part, kind of not great, to be honest. It's not casual friendly in the slightest. You need pretty much a guide next to you, like, at all times whenever you're playing World War II zombies, and it's just not good. I don't know, man. This game was rough. I will say the weapons were very cool. That's, like, a redeeming factor of this game. Like, a lot of the weapons in this game are really, really fun to use.
And honestly, it felt like Sledgehammer Games was saying, we're sorry for Advanced Warfare in the most obvious way possible. After years of jetpacks, robots, and space combat, they went back to Normandy, back to what worked. It was the safest possible choice.
Yep. I would agree with that.
You played as Red Daniels, a farm boy from Texas who gets thrown into the European theater with the 1st Infantry Division. The campaign followed your squad through iconic World War II battles.
I will say, the campaign is, like... I think what makes this campaign not as good as World at War's campaign is there are some detail... Like, they stopped caring about detail, and what I mean by that is... There are moments in this game where you'll literally see, like, a fucking German soldier drop, like, a Thompson, which is an American firearm. Or you'll have moments where, like, a fucking American soldier is using, like, a PPSH Russian firearm or whatever. Like, stuff like that. And I'm just sitting here like, dude... Or, like, an American soldier uses a Type 100 when they're not even, fighting the Japanese, in parts where they're not fighting the Japanese. It's almost like they stopped caring about attention to detail and what firearms each faction used and stuff. It almost like attention to detail kind of started to go away, whereas World at War paid attention to that attention to detail. That's like, when you catch the little things like that in World at War, it really makes you feel like you're playing in a World War II campaign. Whereas this game just kind of, it sort of just stopped caring about that, and that's kind of like, it's like little things like that you really start to notice, and it adds up.
D-Day, the Battle of the Bulge, the liberation of Paris, and the final push into Germany. The campaign was solid, but it felt like a greatest hits compilation of every World War II movie ever made. The Holocaust subplot was handled respectfully, but felt obligatory, and the whole thing played out exactly like you'd expect. The multiplayer was classic Call of Duty stripped down to its essentials. The Create-a-Class system was replaced with divisions: infantry, airborne, armored, mountain, and expeditionary, each with their own weapons and abilities. It was simpler than previous games, which was both refreshing and limiting. War mode was genuinely innovative and probably the best thing about the game. These were large-scale objective-based matches that felt like mini-campaigns. It was brilliant and should have been the main focus of the marketing. Headquarters was a cool social space where you could interact with other players, open supply drops, and test weapons. It was basically a pre-game lobby disguised as a military base, complete with firing ranges, score streak testing areas, and even a 1-versus-1 pit where you could duel other players. Nazi zombies returned. The Final Reich was set in a Bavarian village with
Yeah, the Final Reich was a good start. I do remember the Final Reich being pretty good. But like the DLC season was a little bit rough. The only, like, I would say good map in the DLC season was the Shadowed Throne. That's the one I remember liking the most, but every other map was just so, like, yikes for World War II zombies. World War II zombies, I just overall wasn't really a huge fan of.
Classic zombie mechanics. Mystery box, pack-a-punch.
I guess the vibes and the aesthetic is cool. I'll give it that. Like, it definitely looks really grotesque, and it, like, the vibes it gives is, like, really, really, it's got good vibes, but overall, like, World War II zombies is just wasn't it for me.
And buildable wonder weapons, but something still felt missing throughout the entire experience. The campaign was competent, but uninspired. The multiplayer was solid, but safe. And even the zombies mode felt like it was going through the motions. You could tell the developers were terrified of taking any risks after the backlash to the previous 3 games.
Yeah, I think that's a fair criticism. I would agree with that. Yeah, like, World War II was probably the safest Call of Duty they could have done after a series of futuristic Call of Duty
Black Ops 4 was the controversial experiment that
Black Ops 4. I have a lot to say about this game.
Removed the most important part. And honestly, it was one of the ballsiest moves in COD history. Activision said, screw it, we're not making a campaign. No single-player story.
Yeah, that's the reason why they didn't do a campaign. I'm not even kidding. There was a campaign that was developed for this game. It was like an open-world campaign. That was what they had planned, and this took place in 2045, so right in between BO2 and BO3. I think some of the cutscenes that they used for multiplayer in this game were planned to be in the campaign, because they had, like, David Mason's daughters in this game. He had 2 daughters, and they were featured in the game. One of them actually was the antagonist for this game, funny enough. The problem is that I believe that this game was meant to have a campaign, but they scrapped it and they put resources into Blackout. Now, don't get me wrong, Blackout was fun. Blackout was probably, I would argue, better than Warzone, to be honest. Like, Blackout was a really, really cool Battle Royale mode. I certainly had a lot of fun at it. I wasn't super good at Blackout, to be honest. I was not good, but even though I wasn't good at it, I still had a lot of fun just, like, exploring the map and just, like, exploring, like, how much there was to do there. And even, like, the moments where I did do well, I was like, hey, that's cool. I think I've only ever won, like, 1 or 2 Blackout games. Like, I was not the greatest Blackout player, but it was still fun. I still enjoyed it. I was definitely much more of a zombies player, you could say. But, yeah, I mean, they got rid of the campaign, and this was when Battle Royales were really taking off. Fortnite was becoming a thing. I think months after this game came out, Apex Legends just released as well. So, like, developers were really, like, just getting Battle Royales. Like, that was the name of the game, and Black Ops 4 took a stab at that, and did it pay off? I would say the answers are mixed.
No cinematic moments, no campaign at all.
That's not true. Multiplayer had cinematics.
The decision to cut the campaign was apparently made late in development.
Yes, that's why I have the theory that the cutscenes you see from multiplayer were originally meant for whatever the campaign was going to be.
Rumors suggested they were working on a campaign but couldn't get it to work properly, so they scrapped it entirely and doubled down on the multiplayer experience.
Yep. The multiplayer was actually kind of cool, though. I enjoyed BO4 multiplayer. I don't think it was, like, the best multiplayer, but it, I don't know. I would say the multiplayer felt a little more akin to, like, I guess, Overwatch, with, like, all the ultimates and special abilities with the specialists and stuff. And some people really didn't like the specialist abilities, but that's what kind of made it feel like, more like Overwatch, we'll say.
The backlash was immediate and brutal. People felt betrayed, especially after World War II had a solid campaign the year before. The idea of paying $60 for a game without a single-player story felt like a ripoff to many players. The marketing tried to spin it as the most ambitious multiplayer experience ever, but that didn't help the perception. But here's the thing. The gameplay was incredibly tight. Maybe the best COD multiplayer had been in years. The specialists returned from Black Ops 3 but were completely redesigned and balanced. Each specialist felt unique and powerful.
I always liked Spectre. Being able to run around with a Shadow Blade was just always so much fun. I remember in, like, multiplayer, I got, like, 6 or 7 kills with the Shadow Blade at once. Something like that. And being able to, like, chain it with your smoke grenade was always just good fun. His kit had, like, so much synergy. It was cool.
Without being game-breaking. The maps were excellently designed for the specialist abilities. The weapon balance was fantastic. Every gun had a purpose, and the attachment system was refined and meaningful. Blackout,
the firearms for BO4 were pretty good. I remember enjoying the weapons a lot.
Was surprisingly good. A battle royale that actually felt like Call of Duty instead of just another PUBG clone. The map combined locations from previous Black Ops games. Nuketown, Raid, Firing Range, and other iconic spots were scattered across a massive landscape. It had 100 players, vehicles, and a constantly shrinking circle, but it maintained that fast-paced COD feel. It felt like COD's answer to Fortnite and PUBG, but with the gunplay and pace that made Call of Duty special. The weapon progression system carried over from multiplayer, so your battle royale experience improved your overall unlocks. Zombies was absolutely incredible, with
very bold statement.
4 maps at launch, more than any previous COD.
Yeah, so I will say, he glossed over Zombies very quickly there. Zombies was rough for BO4, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it is true that we had 4 launch maps, which is the most launch maps that any Call of Duty has launched with Zombies, and that's fucking cool. It was a little bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't even play some of the launch maps until, like, a month into release. That's how overwhelming it was, because there was just so much to do on a lot of these maps. It was very overwhelming. I don't think Treyarch should ever release with more than maybe, like, 2 maps at most on launch. Maybe do 3 if you really feel confident enough, but, like, definitely not 4. 4 is way too much. Yeah, so Zombies was very radical in this game. They completely changed most of the mechanics. The perk system was completely redone. It was a create a class system. You basically picked 4 perks at the very start of the game, and you got to choose which location they would be at. There were 4 characterless perk machines around the map. If you were playing the Chaos story, they were represented by gods. So Danu from Celtic mythology, Ra from Egyptian, Zeus from Greek mythology, and Odin from Norse mythology. And basically you got to pick which perk would be at each statue location in the Chaos location. And they introduced a bunch of new perks. A lot of them were cool, but a lot of us preferred the old perk system. I will say the hate that BO4 got was very overblown, I will agree. Yeah, I don't know, like, once you got used to BO4, it wasn't as bad. I just think that this game got very, very overhated, for sure. But I can also see why people preferred the previous system as well. Like, I prefer the previous system, but it was just something you had to adapt to. That's really, like, what it comes down to. I think Cold War perfected the perk system. Cold War and Black Ops 6. Just remove the perk limit, but make perks more expensive the more perks that you have. I actually think that's, like, the best way that they solved the crutch perk issue with that BO3 had.
Black Ops 4 was ahead of its time. The focus on multiplayer content, live service updates, and battle...
That I can agree with, actually. Black Ops 4 really was ahead of its time. It's one of the most unlucky Call of Duty campaigns ever, for sure, because the Battle Royale, even though it was fun, it just wasn't... I don't know, it wasn't quite there, but I think looking back at it, like, everybody looks back at BO4 and, like, looks at it a lot more fondly compared to what we get nowadays.
Royale integration became the standard for future COD games, but at the time, it felt like a risky experiment that alienated as many players as it attracted. Modern Warfare was the soft reboot that saved the franchise. And honestly, It came at the perfect time.
I would say Modern Warfare 2019's campaign is easily a top 10 campaign. This, or even I could argue top 5 maybe. This campaign was fan-fucking-tastic. This was a great reboot. The 2019 campaign. The later Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot campaigns, not as good as this one, but still, this reboot was really fucking good.
This wasn't just a return to Modern Warfare. It was a complete reimagining of what Call of Duty could be. You played as various characters across a campaign that wasn't afraid to...
I would say Black Ops 4 was the end of an era. This is entering the Warzone era of Call of Duty, we'll call it.
...show the ugly, uncomfortable side of modern conflict. Captain Price returned as the gruff SAS operator we all remembered, but older, more weathered, and carrying the weight of decades of Black Ops missions. Farah Karim was a freedom fighter in the fictional country of Urzikstan, fighting against both Russian occupation and...
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Like, listen, I don't mind fictional countries. I don't mind fictional, like, factions and all that stuff. Like, that's cool. If you're able to do it and do it right, that's fine. The problem was that I think a lot of the newer Modern Warfare campaigns lean too hard into the fictional factions. And so, like, there's another fictional country they introduced called Kastovia, which used to be part of Russia. And then there's, like, there's a fictional terrorist group called the Coney Group. There's a fictional thing. And even though it's set during a time period where it's, like, modern times, there comes a point where I think a reason why some people feel less attached to these campaigns is because they just relied more on the fictional stuff, and they never based it off of the real-world stuff that a lot of the older Call of Duty campaigns based it off of. So, I don't know. I feel like they need to start doing that a little bit more with some of these newer campaigns. They could still add some fictional stuff, but just, like, they need to start not being afraid to bring in some real-world stuff again.
and chemical weapon attacks. Alex was a CIA operative caught between duty and conscience, questioning whether the ends justify the means. The Clean House mission became legendary.
Oh yeah, Clean House is definitely, like, a top 10 Call of Duty campaign mission of all time. This mission was very iconic.
Almost immediately. You played as Price and his SAS team clearing a London townhouse suspected of housing terrorists. But the real game changer was the multiplayer, which felt fresh for the first time in years.
Yeah, the multiplayer was fine. I would say the gunplay was okay. The 725 was very obnoxious in this game. That gun single-handedly ruined this multiplayer for many people. But the maps sucked. Like, the maps are... Like, most of the gunplay aside from the 725 was actually pretty good, but the maps were just unbearable to play.
Cross-platform play united console and PC players in a way that seemed impossible just a few years earlier. PlayStation, Xbox, and PC players could all play together seamlessly, which was revolutionary for the franchise. The weapon customization was revolutionary. Gunsmith gave you unprecedented control over your weapons with 5 attachment slots and dozens of options for each slot. You could turn an assault rifle into a sniper rifle, or a submachine gun into a close-quarters monster. Every attachment had...
Well, submachine guns are always for close quarters. I think he meant to say submachine guns into, like, mini ARs, kind of like what the UMP was in the classic Modern Warfare 2.
Trade-offs. Better range might mean worse mobility. Higher damage might mean more recoil. It was the most detailed weapon customization system COD had ever seen. The graphics were absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
The lighting was photorealistic. The character models were detailed beyond belief, and the environments were stunning. The post-launch support was incredible. Free maps, new weapons, constant updates, and seasonal content kept the game fresh for months. The Battle Pass system was fair and rewarding, and the cosmetic options were extensive without being pay to win. It brought back lapsed fans, attracted new players, and reminded everyone why they fell in love with the franchise in the first place.
Yeah, I would say that.
Modern Warfare 2000...
Just the multiplayer was not as, I don't know. The multiplayer had some issues, for sure.
2019 was truly a successful reboot. In 2020, Warzone dropped, and it was surprisingly free to play. 150...
Yeah. Warzone is, I have my feelings about Warzone. It's very... It definitely introduced a new era of COD, we'll say. Not all positive.
50 players, and it exploded into a cultural phenomenon that dominated streaming and social media. You dropped into Verdansk, a massive map that combined locations from previous Modern Warfare games into one cohesive battlefield. The Gulag was genius. Instead of spectating when you died, you fought another dead player for a chance to respawn. Loadout drops let you use your custom weapons instead of just scavenging, and the cache system added strategy beyond just shooting. You could buy teammates back, purchase kill streaks, and even get intel on the next circle. It brought millions of new players to the franchise. It started as a side mode, but became the main attraction. Black Ops Cold War was the bridge between past and future.
Cold War was pretty solid. So unlike Modern Warfare 2019, they actually decided to continue the Black Ops story, but this feels like a true sequel to Black Ops 1, we'll say, because it takes place in the 80s. The campaign was pretty damn good, definitely an A-tier campaign. Multiplayer was a lot of fun. Even Zombies I enjoyed, but Zombies was way too easy. A lot of people complain that Zombies was too easy, and I agree. Zombies is definitely way too easy.
That somehow worked. Set in the 1980s, it connected the original Black Ops to Black Ops 2 with a story about Reagan, espionage, and Cold War paranoia. The campaign was great. Multiple endings, meaningful choices, and that twist that nobody saw coming. You could create your own character and make decisions that actually mattered. Multiplayer was fast, fun, and felt like classic COD with modern polish.
Yeah, I really like the multiplayer of this game a lot.
Zombies returned to round-based survival with Die Machine and Firebase Z.
Die Machine. Dude, the pronunciations, man. You're killing me with these fucking pronunciations, Ghost explains.
It launched alongside Modern Warfare's continued success.
So, Black Ops Cold War, in my opinion, D Machine is a very average map, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying that, but it's just, there's not really much to the map. It's just Nocturne Toten. Well, listen, it's not just Nocturne Toten. It was part of the location. It's Nocturne Toten. You have the outside, you have the underground lab. But, like, what do you really do on D Machine? Like, realistically speaking, like, some of the other Cold War maps, like Mauerdare Toten, Firebase Z, even, like, the Outbreak mode, there was, like, a lot of stuff you could do, whereas D Machine, you just turn on power, and that was basically it. Like, you're basically set up for the rest of the game. You just have to get the ray gun and use Ring of Fire, and then you're all set. I don't know, it's a very average map. And they definitely played it safe, jumping back into Zombies, we'll say.
But it held its own. Vanguard was the latest World War II.
Oh, jeez. We never talk about Vanguard. Vanguard is, yeah, what a disaster.
Attempt that landed with a thud. The campaign followed 4 soldiers from different fronts.
God, the campaign for this sucked. It somehow manages to fuck up a World War II setting. It's 4 characters, none of which are interesting. The fucking gameplay was mediocre. The multiplayer sucked. The zombies sucked. Nothing about Vanguard was good. This game was a total flop.
The story was told through flashbacks as they're captured and interrogated by a Nazi war criminal trying to create a Fourth Reich. It sounds interesting on paper, but the execution was messy. The characters felt generic. Multiplayer launched with destructible environments and combat pacing that let you choose between
destructible environments? I don't think that was I mean, I've never played Vanguard multiplayer, so I can't confirm or deny it, but I don't believe that was there. Huh, okay.
Tactical, assault, or blitz modes depending on player count. Champion Hill was a tournament-style mode that nobody asked for, but the real disaster was zombies. They completely abandoned round-based survival for an objective-based mode that felt like a generic co-op shooter. Most people skipped it, forgot it existed, or actively disliked it. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either.
Huh? You just said most people skipped it. You said it wasn't terrible, but you just implied that it was terrible. I am getting the vibes that this was a little bit AI generated probably, and you just didn't really proofread it. Okay, fair enough, I guess. I mean, listen, I don't have a problem if you use AI, but like proofread your own shit, my guy. Come on. What are you doing?
Just another entry in a franchise that was starting to feel tired and uninspired. Modern Warfare 2 was the sequel that tried to recapture the magic of 2009.
Oh yeah, I mean, this campaign, I looked at this campaign, it was fine. I mean, I don't think the campaign was terrible, but nothing really happens in it. It's kind of just there to exist.
The campaign followed Task Force 141, Captain Price, Soap McTavish, Ghost, and new team member Alejandro Vargas, as they hunted down Iranian Major Hassan Ziani and Mexican cartel
Hassan Parker
leader Elcine Nombre. The story took you from Amsterdam to Mexico to Chicago with spectacular set pieces, including a prison break, a cartel compound raid, and a final mission in a Chicago skyscraper. Ghost finally got character development. Soap was more experienced.
Yeah, they definitely did Ghost very well this game. I gotta say, Ghost's character in this game is really good. And Soap is good. The characters are good. It's just I don't know, nothing really happens in this campaign. That's kind of what, like, I'd put it at, like, maybe low B tier, maybe.
And the banter between characters felt natural, but the campaign was short, and the story felt rushed. Multiplayer was solid with refined mechanics from 2019, beautiful new maps, and the return of classic modes. Gunsmith 2.0 expanded weapon customization even further, and the new perk system divided abilities into packages. The graphics were stunning, the sound design was perfect, but something felt missing. It was a competent sequel that played things safe after the risks of the previous generation. Most people liked it, but didn't love it. It was good Modern Warfare without being great Modern Warfare. Warzone 2.0 was the complete overhaul.
Oh, are we just not going to acknowledge the new Modern Warfare 3 game? The newer one? Or is he going to get into that?
That nobody asked for. Instead of updating the original, they scrapped everything and started fresh with Al-Mazrah, a new map inspired by Middle Eastern geography. The Gulag became a 2 versus 2 experience where you had to work with a random teammate, which sounds good in theory, but was frustrating in practice. They added proximity chat so you could hear enemies talking, which led to hilarious and terrifying moments. The new circle system split players into multiple zones that eventually converged, and strongholds offered high-value loot with AI enemies guarding them. DMZ mode turned Warzone into a PvEVP extraction shooter where you completed contracts and extracted with loot, but the changes divided the community. Some loved the innovation, others missed the simplicity of the original.
I'm gonna be so real with you, I just don't care about Warzone at all in the slightest. Like, I would care more about multiplayer than Warzone. And, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just... Warzone is just something, like, it's just nothing like what Blackout was.
The UI was confusing. It was ambitious and technically impressive, but it felt like fixing something that wasn't broken. The player count dropped, the reception was mixed, and it struggled to find its identity in a crowded battle royale market.
I don't know if the player count dropped. Like, it still had a fairly large player base, and Warzone still does have a fairly large player base. You could make the argument that, like, Call of Duty has, like, a huge fatigue and frustration, but I don't know.
Modern Warfare 3 was the continuation that felt like expensive DLC.
Oh yeah, this game, Modern Warfare 3, the newer one, the campaign is easily the worst of all time. You could tell it was not ready to release at all, the campaign, but the post-launch content was really fucking good.
Basically, Modern Warfare 2 Part 2 with a short campaign, nostalgic multiplayer maps, and open-world zombies that nobody wanted. The story was rushed.
Yeah, the zombies, I would say, was not for me, but everything else about it, like, I would say the post-launch content was good, but the campaign was not good.
The campaign was over in 4 hours, and the whole package felt incomplete. Multiplayer was fine, but most maps were just remasters from previous games. Most fans were disappointed. Critics were lukewarm, but it still sold millions because it had Call of Duty on the cover, a lazy sequel that coasted on brand recognition. Black Ops 6 launched in 2024, set in 1991 during the Gulf War.
I gotta say, Black Ops 6 has a pretty damn good campaign. I was super amazed at how good the campaign was. I feel like Black Ops 6 had no right to have a campaign as amazing as it was, and I really enjoyed BO6's campaign a lot.
And it's a perfect example of how critics and players can see the same game completely differently. The campaign follows a rogue CIA team led by Frank Woods and Russell Adler as they uncover a conspiracy involving a mole within the agency. You play as Case, a new operative with...
Yeah, and then you're basically... I think the concept for BO6 is really cool because the main antagonists of the game is a paramilitary group called the Pantheon, and they're essentially a group that infiltrated the CIA, and they have moles inside the CIA. And they're terrorists. They don't operate under any country. They're terrorists that are mainly within the CIA, so I guess technically they're US, but they have operatives from Russia. They have operatives from, like, all over the world. So... yeah.
Mysterious ties to the...
It's a very, very cool concept. It's a very cool concept and an example of, like, a fictional antagonist that's done right because it bases itself off of, like, real-world events.
Previous games' events. The story brings back classic Black Ops mind games with multiple plot twists, unreliable narrators, and connections to the larger mythology. The campaign features safe house hubs where you can choose your loadout...
Yeah, this video is definitely AI-generated, by the way. I'm just letting you know right now.
Interact with teammates, and select missions in different orders. The campaign got widespread praise for returning to classic Black Ops storytelling. Multiplayer brought back the beloved Pick-10 create-a-class system, and round-based zombies returned with 2 launch maps featuring the Mystery Box and Pack-a-Punch.
Every zombies map has the mystery and pack. Okay, you definitely got AI to write this video. I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
Players are telling a completely different story. Steam reviews dropped to mixed, with only 64% positive ratings, and the game lost a staggering 47% of its player base since launch. That's the fastest player decline in Call of Duty history.
Well, that was fun.